my husband, 38M, and I, 37F, have been married for 9 years and have 2 kids, 8 and 6. He works a hybrid schedule, so he's home 2 to 3 days a week. I'm a nurse at an understaffed hospital. Due to that staffing shortage, I was offered to temporarily switch my work hours to the overnight shift. It came with a nice bump in pay, which could really help us out financially. My husband was very much against it because of the changes it would make to our day-to-day lives. I initially declined the offer, but they countered with an even higher pay bump, so I took it. It's been 5 months since I changed hours, and my husband hates it. My hours are now 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. on Thursday and midnight, 9 a.m. Sunday morning. I usually make it home just in time to see the kids off to school, run some errands, or get things done at home in the morning, then sleep until the kids' bedtime and head to work. I like to think I've gotten pretty efficient at it since the change, but my husband disagrees. I won't lie, he has had to pick up a lot of kid-related things that we used to share. Pretty much any rides they need are done by him. Any weekday activities he takes care of. Now that the kids are done with school, we have them in a summer daycare program, and he does all the drop-offs and pickups. He's been complaining to me ever since the kids' school year ended that this isn't working for him anymore. He keeps asking when I can switch my hours back. I told him that the original plan was 6 to 8 months, so it could be soon, but it's only been 5 months. If I'm being honest, I don't know if I want to switch back. I'm making and saving a lot more money. Once I adjusted to the sleep schedule, I feel like I actually have more energy and can get more stuff done when I get home from work. This past weekend, my husband practically begged me to ask my supervisor when I can switch my hours back. I finally told him that I'm not sure if I want to do that. He flipped out on me. He told me this isn't what he signed up for when we got married. He told me he feels lied to because not only did I accept the offer without his final approval, but now I'm going back on my word that it would be temporary. He said that if I'm going to keep my current night shift, then I need to do more things at home since I have the whole place to myself during the day. I asked him what more he thinks I should do, and he actually made a list. He put pretty much all the yard work on there, which is usually stuff he takes care of and that I don't know how to do. I told him I don't know how to do all of that stuff, and he told me, if I can learn how to fold a fitted sheet, you can learn how to mow the lawn. I told him that doesn't seem like a fair division of labor, and he told me that he's taken on all the kids' stuff, so I need to do more of everything else. I told him that doing manual labor after I worked all night isn't going to work for me, and he told me to change my hours back then.
Comment 1. YTA. You basically abandoned all your responsibilities and then claimed you're too dumb to learn how to do yard work. My neighbor has one arm and she mows her own lawn. I can give you her number if you need tips. How could you possibly say it doesn't sound like a fair division of labor? It sounds like you don't do anything at home to help with the kids. What do you mean division when it's only him doing it all? Taking a night shift seems to be a good thing for you at the expense of your family. You're a selfish spouse. Comment 2. YTA. It seems your system is whatever you want is the way it has to be. You try to paint him poorly, saying he was mad, accepting without his final approval, but in reality, you had an agreement on how you were going to split home/childcare, but you unilaterally decided to take the overnight. You told him it was temporary and to just wait, and you told him you were going to make it permanent. So his choice or vote or decision meant nothing to you at any time in your post. When he asks you to do more around the house, you duck out by saying you don't know how. Maybe that's something you can ask him about. Comment 3. You're prioritizing money and your free time over family, and you admit you're not helping with the kids enough. It sounds like the reason you're more rested is because you're spending less time with your family, and more time doing what you want. If your partner says you're not there enough, and you don't care enough to do something about it, then your relationship is doomed. I was placed for adoption at birth. My older, bio, sister, was placed when she was 5 months old. We're 3 years apart in age and we were adopted by the same parents and raised in the same family. I also have other siblings I grew up with who have no bio connection to me. My sister tried to rope me into a birth family search, but I told her I didn't want to find them and offered her my support from the outside, but that was as much as I was willing to give. She found them 5 years ago and has been in regular contact with them since. Our family supported this, and my parents have met my birth parents in an effort to support my sister, but I still choose not to meet them or have them in my life. My sister has passed letters to me from them, and has been trying for years to get me to agree to meet with them and build a relationship. They keep saying how much it hurts them that I want nothing to do with them. She passes this on to me and tells me how much it hurts her, that I won't be a part of this with her, because our connection as blood-related siblings is huge, and now we have more blood-related family, her way of putting it. I told her there is no part of me that wants to meet them and nothing I want from them. She told me she knows I have to want answers, and I said no, I already know the answers. They were young when they had us and didn't want to be parents at that time. She asked how I knew that, and I told her I did listen to her after she met them for the first time. It's been so messy. I get letters from them about once a month and I try giving them back to no avail, so I dispose of them and have never read them. I'm not interested. I can't be more clear than that. Now I'm getting married, and my sister fought for them to be invited. She offered to pay for them to come and told me she would cover all the costs associated with their place on the guest list, and I still said no. She called me crying after she had been at their house because they were so upset to be missing it. She said our bio dad wants to walk you down the aisle, and I told her that's not going to happening, and that them being upset wasn't a strong motivator for me. I also warned her that the place we're getting married at has security and we already added them to our package. My fiancé has a couple of family members we need to have monitored in case they get too drunk, and I can easily pass on info about our birth family to keep them out if she tries sneaking them in. My sister said I'm being unreasonable. My parents assured me they support me either way, but want me to know I don't need to take my stance for their sakes. We had this discussion before too, and they'd be fine with them coming. My sister said if mom and dad don't care I should want my whole family at my wedding, and I told her they will be. I don't consider our birth family my family for real. Her reaction was even stronger when the invites were sent out and our birth family didn't get any. Comment 1. The cheek of your bio dad wanting to walk you down the aisle. What Hallmark movie syrupy nonsense has he been mainlining that he might think that you, OP, a grown woman that has declined to ever even meet him, would ever let him have such a role, or even be invited to your wedding? Oh yes, he thinks, I contributed sperm to create you, some decades ago. Here, let me have an honored guest role in your wedding. In fact, I demand it. OP, he might have been young when you were conceived, but he did it twice, you and your sister, so close in age, knowing good and well he and bio mum didn't have the wherewithal to care for you. Once. An unplanned pregnancy can happen, but twice? And him and his daughter pressuring you. Apple tree. Comment 2. Seriously. Doesn't sound like the bio parents have matured much if they think they can give up their unwanted children as babies, and just pick them back up like nothing happened 20-odd years later. If they actually cared about OP, they would respect OP's wishes and not keep trying to guilt/manipulate them with letters and pleas through their sister. Comment 3. NTA. They can blame being too young on having your older sister. You were born 3 years later. If they weren't ready to have a child and already made the mistake once, they clearly did not learn their lesson, and it sounds like they're not going to learn lessons now. How on earth your bio father thinks he has business walking you down the aisle is beyond me. He gave you away at birth. He doesn't get the privileges of being a father if he gave 2 children away. Hold your ground on this one, and your sister needs to let this go, or she's going to create as big a distance between you and her as exists with your bio parents. I'm 27F. I'm a very short woman, 4 feet 9 inches and under 100 pounds. I don't want to complain about being small, but there are a lot of people out there, especially other women, who will not take us seriously, are judgmental, make snide comments, assume attraction to us is nefarious, etc. A lot of comments that imply we're not real women, etc. I'm used to it and usually let it roll off my back. But there's a new one that's picked up momentum that I guess stems from a TV show where a girl is putting on a childish act and she says I'm a very sexy baby in a cutesy voice, and there's a lot more to it that you can just Google. My sil Cassie has picked this up and has been using this against me. I can't wear a cute outfit without her coming down on me and chiding me for buying into the whole sexy baby thing when I am just wearing an outfit. I'm just trying to be me. God forbid I wear a shorter skirt or bows or anything I think is cute. It's like I'm not allowed to wear cute or sexy things because I'm petite, so I'm automatically seen as trying to be a sexy baby when I'm not. I've asked Cassie to stop or drop it, and she maintains that I'm the one opening myself up to judgment and I should dress my age. This came to a head last weekend when we were in my auntie's backyard at the pool. I took off my wrap so I could hang with my feet in the pool with my cousins, and Cassie immediately said, "You're a very sexy baby," at me and twirled imaginary pigtails. I raised my voice and said, "That's a really weird thing to keep saying. What is your problem with me? Why do you keep bringing up that I'm small?" She started to turn red and she yelled back again that I'm the one that's choosing to walk around looking like the sexy baby. I said that I'm literally just wearing a bathing suit, a one-piece halter, and asked her what I should be wearing instead if that's such a problem. She yelled back that I should dress like a grown adult and to stop trying to cause a scene in front of everyone. I said whatever and just tried to ignore her. Later on we ended up inside at the same time and she came down on me for calling her out in front of everyone. I told her to stop trying to make me feel bad for being small, that I didn't choose this body. She rolled her eyes and told me to grow the duck up, and that trying to start shit with her is even more proof. I am at a loss here and I'm starting to just not want to be around my family because of her. It's not enough that I get this shit from women at work, at the gym, basically anywhere, now it's in my family. AOTA for calling her out? Or even for just existing in my own body? Edit: hey, I'm adding this in because I can't respond to every comment, but it's my brother's wife, he doesn't care. We've never been close/gotten along. He'll always take her side. Other people in my family are very hands-off/handle your business yourself. Just the way they are. Also, Cassie isn't fat, she's just average height. Comment 1, NTA. This woman is flat out body shaming you. If this is your brother's wife, he should be getting her to back off. If it's your husband's sister, he should be intervening. Either way, this woman is a bully who thought she could mock you with impunity and pass it off and friendly teasing. Clearly she didn't expect you to call her out on it. Comment 2. Well, you could come up with some snarky things to say about her, but that won't solve anything. Perhaps you need to approach this differently. She makes a comment about what you are wearing or your size. Cassie, I'm very concerned about your fixation on my looks. I find it very uncomfortable that you continue to make an issue about what I wear. She will tell you to dress like a grown-up. You will respond, you have an unhealthy fixation on my looks and wardrobe. I am telling you now that it is creepy and unwelcome. Then talk to her parents/spouse/brother/sister, whoever, tell them that her fixation is unhealthy and her comments are unsettling. If no one is willing to support you in this at your next encounter, say loudly, "Cassie, I've repeatedly told you I am not interested in you that way. Please accept my rejection and move on." My biological mother had me, 19M, when she was 18. She ended up leaving me with my grandparents, who I consider my parents. I saw her a few times in the 10 years after, but then she moved out of state and didn't come back for visits. I believe a fight over me is why she didn't return for visits, because the last time she was visiting I was trying to engage with her and she ignored me. My parents told her she couldn't come to visit and act like I wasn't there, because I was, and if she couldn't behave appropriately to a young child she had no business staying with us. She moved back to the state 3 years ago. This time married with kids. She was very different after this and attempted to mother me after all that time, and I shut it down with help from my parents. This pissed my biological mother off. She expected to be able to dictate to me like she was my parent and not a person who abandoned me and ignored me for years. The relationships did not go back to normal. My parents refused to let my biological mother back into our home. My biological mother said they had other grandkids and I had siblings who should be in our lives. They said it would be lovely if it were possible, but they knew she would not be healthy for me, and they refused to make our home uncomfortable for me when I had nobody else. There were some attempts at making me get to know her kids, 2 at the time, But I told my grandparents I wasn't interested and they respected that and stood up for my right to say no. Now I'm an adult and my biological mother is pushing harder for this. She went as far as asking me to babysit once a week so I can get to know the kids and I won't have to deal with her if I'm so against her. I said no. She showed up where I worked to bring this up to me in person and didn't respect my answer, and my boss needed to ask her to leave. I'm lucky I have an amazing boss, or she would have gotten me fired. She sent a letter to our house saying I should be ashamed of refusing to spend time with the kids and I'd be paid for the babysitting, and I am rejecting an amazing opportunity and have hurt her kids with my refusal. Comment 1. NTA. Your bio mom is just trying to get free babysitting out of you. Feel free to say no with no guilt. She abandoned you when you were a child and did nothing to support you. She has no right to be making demands of you now. You know this has nothing to do with your relationship with her kids because she won't let it go. If it were, she would have accepted your answer and let any relationship develop naturally. Instead, she is pushing something because it would benefit her. Comment 2. Your return letter. Dear Mrs. Egg Donor, I understand you are upset that I will not provide child care. Due to your history of child abandonment, I will not be able to provide any form of care to your minor children. To be quite blunt, I am far too young to risk suddenly being a parent when you choose to leave. I'm sure you understand, as you were about my age when you first abandoned a child. I have zero desire to get to know your minor children. I consider the people who raised me to be my real parents. If you continue to demand my time and physical/emotional investment, then I will have to consider this harassment and proceed accordingly. Regards, OP.